Good afternoon, everyone. It's Louise here. I just thought I would show you the basket weave stitch. As you can possibly see, just out of shot, I've got Ella just here. She is helping. She's also doing some very quiet purring, and we have a really bad storm again today. So apologies for the light and the sound quality if that gets affected. And we'll see how helpful Ella's going to be here. This was in response to a member of the group, Joanne, who wanted to do basket weave stitch, which I believe she's done beautifully already and shown in the group. So I had a little bit of play around because it's not a stitch I've used often, but it's such a gorgeous gorgeous little stitch, and I thought it's prompted me to look at a little spring project coming up. So this was my first attempt, and I learned a couple of things from that, just wanting to do a sort of basket shape. I've got this lovely cotton pearl A8 from Paintbox Threads. If anyone wanted to recreate something similar, I thought the variegation here gives such a lovely depth to it. This is colour VC8N04. That's very specific, isn't it? But it's a beautiful soft browns and sort of tan colours. So the variegation's not huge, but it really does make it look like it's 3D almost. So there are two different stitches as well. Some of them I found online being called basket weave stitch, which are actually a different stitch called basket stitch. And maybe I'll do that another time. But basket weave stitch is, as the name suggests, a matter of weaving. And you can do this in two ways. You can either do horizontal lines first, or you can do vertical. Now, it shouldn't really make any difference, but I find it easier to work, and I think to me it looks nice doing the verticals first. So what I did is I roughly traced out in pencil a grid for the size I wanted. So here I did a sort of basket shape, but here I've just done a square or a rectangle rather, and then you start weaving. What I did is I drew the lines out. So literally I'm going to be weaving over the top of my pencil marks, and there's no need to remove them because they'll all be covered. So what you do is you come at the start of one of the lines, if you can see that. The shadows are so terrible today with this storm. You just want to come up just to the left, or if you're right-handed you might want to start on the right-hand side. You're going to be weaving backwards and forwards anyway, so it doesn't really make an awful lot of difference. What you might benefit from doing this with is a tapestry blunt needle. I've got a sharp needle here. Oh, it would help if I'd actually done a knot in the end, so I shall do that. I'm just using a chenille needle, which is a bit like a sharp tapestry needle with a big eye, but it might be easier to do it with a tapestry needle if you have one, because you have got the sharp point to contend with. Right, come on Ella, we can do this, can't we? She's just out of sight here. So what you want to do is literally a bit like the woven wheel. You want to be going up and over, so over and under. So alternately, I'm going to start going over, and then I'm going to go under the next stitch, over. Now what I found most helpful is actually doing the whole lot in one. Yeah, Ella thinks that's a great idea. And then what I just did is pushed up with my fingers, or even with the sort of the blunt side of the needle. So that's one row completed, as you can see. Now I'm going to turn this as I go. Let's get the needles out of the way just in case Ella decides to tromp over here. So what you want to do is make sure that the last stitch, as you can see here, I need to go over this, and then I need to go under it to go on the way back. So you should be doing the opposite of the previous stitch. So if you get part way through and you get stuck, just look at look at the previous row and you should be doing the opposite to that. So I'm going over here, I'm going under there. So I then, it's a good thing about having a long needle is that actually you can do the whole row. I go through to the end. So I'll turn it again just to make it easier and pull this through. Now what you have to remember, which I did wrongly here, is not to let the last stitch be too tight, because it starts warping the side of the piece. So let's move up this up here. As you can see, that's starting to look like a weave, and then you just do the same again and you keep going. And what I will do is do a couple more rows, and then you will see the lovely design that it brings. So again, remembering not to be too tight on this turn, especially when you're going up and over. So you should be going the same way on each pass, so you'll be working the same you'll be working over and under the same stitches every time you go that way. So going left to right and going right to left, it's always going to be the opposite. So again here I'm going to try and not tighten that end up too much so it doesn't get too warped, and then just tidy it up with my hands, and there you go. It's a lovely stitch. I'm going to keep going and finish this one off, and then think about using this in one of our projects. So I hope you've enjoyed that. You can see the finished one here, and it's got a really lovely texture to it. It's got real definition, but as I say, just remember not to pull the edges too tightly. As you can see, I started off doing that, and then I got the idea that I shouldn't be, and tried to sort of tidy it up a bit as I went along. But yeah, it's a lovely stitch. So thank you, Joanne. And yes, if you're on our Facebook group, do look up Joanne's post about her little basket that she's made. It's a beautiful stitch, and I shall be using this a lot more. Thanks very much. See you soon. Bye.